The thing to know about rotations is we're going to rotate this shape, this triangle. You can rotate anything, a point, a shape. Is that you're going to rotate it around a certain point and you're going to rotate it a certain degrees. And actually this could be super complicated if we wanted it to be. We could rotate this 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270, or we could rotate it, 3 degrees or 4 degrees or 5 degrees. And what's interesting is I have a point here shown at the origin, but we don't have to rotate something around the origin. So if we were to rotate sort of this triangle here, and let's say they said, let's rotate this 90 degrees around the origin, it would look something like this. Right? You can sort of see that it swung across to this side, and because it rotated around, it fell down on this side. This was vertical, but now it's horizontal. But what happens if, this could be far more complicated. What if they said, don't rotate it around the origin? What if they said rotate it, around some arbitrary point, right? Like let's say they said rotate it around a point here. Well, now this whole shape here would have to be much further up because again, it's around this point and not the origin. So the good news is that for the sake of this video, we are not going to get into sort of the more complicated rotation. But rather, we're only going to rotate around the origin, again, for the sake of this video, and we're only going to rotate 90 degrees, 180, and 270. And of course, if you rotate it at 360, it'd end up back where it began. So we'll take this triangle or any shape and we'll rotate it 90, 180, 270 about the origin. And one thing you have to know about rotations is whenever we mention a degrees, we're talking about counterclockwise in this case, right? So clock moves this way, while our rotations are going to be counterclockwise because that's how the coordinate plane is set up anyways. Remember, your quadrants are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are your quadrants, so they do move in this direction here. And so rather than drawing these, there's actually an amazing shortcut that some genius invented for finding, these are points, right? So if you have a triangle, it's nothing but 3 points. And a question could be, if I rotate this triangle 90 degrees around the origin, what are my new points? And so I'm going to teach you the craziest shortcut in the world, and it is exactly how you find these points. All right, so here's the rule. And so this is it. This is the cheat sheet. So if you had a point, X, Y, and you rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise around the origin, you'll simply come out with this value, negative Y, comma, X will be your new point. You flip them, make the Y negative, and leave the X positive. This is like the world's best cheat sheet, by the way. Looks like we're missing a little parentheses here. Okay, so the next one is if you rotate 180 degrees, right, you had X, Y. All you do is make both of them negative. And we'll do a few examples here. And then if you do 270, you see you flip them and X is negative, right? And so perfect example. Okay, so here we have, I'll make up a point. If we had 2, 3, and they ask us to rotate it 90 degrees about the origin, all you would do is, looks like you have your negative Y, negative 3, 2 is your new point. Totally easy, right? With this world's best cheat sheet. Okay, this one, 180 degrees. We had X, Y. We just make them both negative. So I don't know, let's say we had negative 3, 5, just random point I made up. We basically leave the X, Y order the same, just change both signs. So the new point would be, change him. This is weird because it was negative, so now it's positive, right? And this is, all you do is change the sign, so that's negative 5. So that was easy. Negative 3, 5, rotated 180 degrees around the origin, becomes 3, negative 5. Okay, and I didn't have to make this point negative. I was trying to be tricky, but just to show you that all you do is you change the signs from the original. Now this one, 270, whatever, I don't know, 1, 5 is our first point. Now it looks to me like we flipped the X and Y, right? So we have this 5, but the X was positive and becomes negative, so 5, negative 1. So that's totally it. I think these are like the easiest things in the world if you have this cheat sheet. Remember, this cheat sheet is only true if you're rotating these set amounts, 90 degrees, 180, 270, about the origin. That's important that you understand that key point. And obviously if they gave you something like an entire triangle to rotate rather than just one point at a time, that's easy as well, right? All we could, if they said the triangle has 3 points and we rotate the whole triangle 90 degrees, we'll treat each point of the triangle one at a time and change the values appropriately. And that's it. That's how you do rotations. Again, this cheat sheet's the best thing in the world. And once you have this, you can do rotations about the origin, counterclockwise, 90 degrees, 180, 270. All right, good luck in this section.